Pleasant good morning. Welcome back to our HEDM devotion. Thank you for tuning into my devotion. My topic today is temptation. The rest of my heart to talk about this because I feel like we as Christians struggles a lot with temptation. And the lesson will be coming from Matthew chapter 26, verse 41. 41. Verse 41. Watch and pray, that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. So temptation by definition means the desire to do something, especially something wrong or unwise. So you could be tempted to do good too. But that's another sermon for another time. So, I'm going to talk about temptation based on the Bible in a negative way. It says, an enticement to act in disobedience to God's will. So, entice, you're tempted, is a desire to act in obedience against God's will. Everyone gets tempted, it's part of human nature. Like everybody gets tempted. It is a common human experience involving the struggles between desire and the will of God. But one thing we must remember, temptation is not sin. Right? Temptation is not sin. Although temptation is not sin itself, yielding to temptation leads to sin and its consequences. You hear that? For example, let's say I was dating a guy for like about 8 months, right? And 8 months is a long time, and feelings starts to get involved. You start liking him. He's getting touchy feeling. You're getting touchy feeling, and some thoughts and stuff starts flashing in your head, like thoughts that you want to pursue more and do more things and do stuff sexually and stuff like that. So you as a Christian know that sex outside of marriage is a sin. But you and yourself, you're like, I've been with this dude for so long. We've been talking. My mind is telling me no. But my body, my body is telling me yes. Baby, I don't want to hurt nobody. But it's something I must confess. Sorry, my voice is gone. I don't see nothing wrong. Okay, you know that song. Everybody we justify these situations, like just like R. Kelly said, like he seen nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. Like, so now you with this guy for 8 months, and now you're like, I'm really liking this guy, and we've been together so long, and you start justifying, saying like, well, we basically married. This is my one. This is my guy. So why not just knock in the boots or do things? He's gonna be the one there for me. He's gonna be my husband. So why not? Why not do something? You start justifying. Here comes society. Here comes the world. Everybody is like, yeah, that's fine. Y'all been together forever. Y'all basically married, and then boom, you fall into temptation, right? So before, you were just getting tempted. It's okay if your mind is telling you no, but your body is telling you yes. That's part of the temptation process. But the moment that you did the act, you have failed. Failed. Temptation is a test of faith and obedience to God. So you as a Christian know that having sex before marriage is a sin, and having sex before marriage is something that God do not want you to do. And here you go doing it. You now lack your faith in God, and you've been disobedient. Let's talk about some sources of temptation. So, some sources in the Bible, temptation is often attributed to external forces like the world, the flesh, or the devil, inciting individuals to disobey God. So, for example, the world will normalize things that God clearly says no to. So, Just like God clearly said no sex before marriage, but here comes the world normalizing that you could have sex before marriage. It's okay to have sex before marriage. Sex is part of a human nature and a human process. So this is things that we ought to do. And here God's saying no, you cannot have sex before marriage. Sex is a holy thing. It's supposed to be done between a wife and a woman, and you just follow after the world. If you listen to the world and you go after these norms and make it normal for your life. So that's one of the external forces. Then you have the flesh. The flesh is yourself. Sometimes we, as our own self, justify our sins. So we justify things, and we make it seem like it's not a big deal, right? Um, um, you probably might say that I've been with this guy for 8 months and we're finally doing it. That's not too bad. Some people, they do one night stand. Some people, they don't even know the guy and they doing stuff. Like, at least we together. At least we've been together for 8 months and we have a path to get married, or we in a path to doing good. At least it's my only man. Everybody's trying to justify their sin. And this could be any type of sin. It could be anything that God don't want us to do. Stealing, killing. You're justifying these things, basically making it less than it is. Like, you talking down on it, like kind of like big deal. But you trying to say like, it's not a big deal. So let's limit it. Just remember, all sin is equal, no matter if it's big or small. So if God said no and you're a Christian, don't go against it. Just continue doing. Even if your flesh is fighting against you, you fight your flesh, okay? And then last but not least is the devil. The devil is the person that will stand in your ears and talk in your ears and tell you, oh, you're going to be a Virgin Mary forever? Like, it's that noise in your ears. Is like, like talking to you like, what they expect you to be with this guy and not catch a feel, or be with this guy. Like, come on, you could do it. Like, they too once did it. They too was in your shoes. Don't study them. That's the devil tempting you, putting all these thoughts in your head, telling you that it's okay to do these things that God clearly said no to. Let's be clear, because I feel like a lot of us get this misconstrued. God does not tempt individuals with evil, right? You hear that? God does not tempt individuals with evil, but rather permits them to experience the challenges of temptation to test their faith, just like Job. So, for example, a lot of us like to be like, the devil, I used to say too, the devil's not the only one that tempts you. God tempts you too. And now that I'm reading and doing a little bit more research, God do not tempt us to do evil. Why would he tempt us to do evil? He just permits us, or permits the devil, or permit the world, or permit the flesh, for you to experience these challenges, and so that he could test our faith, basically. Just like, for example, Job, like I mentioned. Job is like like a man after God. He loved God so much. And the devil came to him. And Jesus, God told the devil, like, use Job as an example. I give you permission to tempt Job. Tempt him, and I'm pretty sure he won't fall, because God was so confident in him. And the devil took advantage and tested him in so many different ways. He tested him and took away all his stuff in his life. He lost everything. He had people tempting him in his ears, his wife, his family, and all sorts of things. But the ultimate test that he did pass was that he stayed faithful to God, and he didn't give in to temptation. So we must do like Job, and remember that despite our temptation coming our way, that we should try our best to avoid temptation. Though it may be hard, because I know Job was stressing. He was stressing. And he was going through a rough time, but he still pulled through. You know how he pulled through? With God. He watched, he prayed, and he did it with God, and that's how he was able to go through. So this is just a few tips on how to avoid temptations. This could be, you could plug in whatever temptation you have. You apply this few things, and this can help guide you in the right path to avoid temptation. 1, proactively avoid situation and triggers. Limit exposure. That's the main thing. So if you know your temptation is sex, and it's hard for you, especially if you're dating somebody for a long time, to not give in to this temptation, guess what? I'm not telling you to limit, to avoid the person and try not to kiss them or whatever like that, but avoid circumstances that will lead up to that. So, i.e., you should not be Netflix and chilling. Go outside, go do a picnic, go to the movies, do something that doesn't like and basically avoids the situation, but not really avoiding it, just like, just limiting the exposure. That's it. You're just limiting the exposure of you going through that process of being very tempted very, very hard. Next, place barriers. Put up some barriers. Say, hey, I don't like this, so I'm gonna avoid this at all costs. You put up your barriers. Get friends and family on board. So sometimes you can't do it on your own, so you have to tell your family and friends, I'm fat, I need to lose weight, but my addiction is food and I really love food. Guess what? My friends, please, when you see me pick up a cake, tell me no. Tell me to put down that cake. If you see me pick up cookies, tell me no. Remember what you said, Jewel. You say you don't want to eat them cookies. Put them cookies back. These people will be a constant reminder on top of yourself. Don't get me wrong. There's times where you tell these people to help you, and then you, instead of you try to be more sneaky, where you start hiding it, and then you giving it into your own temptation in secret. But you got to be responsible for your own action. If this is something that you really want to do, try your best to avoid it. Distract yourself. If you know that cake, somebody from your job just bought some chocolate cake, distract yourself. Get up and go do some work. Be like, yep, I'm not going to eat that cake. Go do some work. Walk around. Avoid the nursing station and go sit down in the corner so the cake won't be in your sight. And last but not least, I want you to strengthen yourself through prayer, self-reflection, and seek support. So prayer, obviously, watching and praying to God. God will help you through any battles you have. Sometimes you can't do things without Him. You have to walk with God in order to be successful and proceed in life and proceed in your temptation. Sometimes you need that extra when you build when you feed into your spirit, which is connected to God, you become more stronger to fight all these fleshly urges. So what happens when we give into temptation so much? We building and we making our flesh strong. Where it's so easy for us to slip by and giving into our flesh. But if we start feeding into our spirit, it'll be easy to tell ourselves and able to like tell our brains like, stop. This is not good. This is not healthy. And then self-reflect. Be like, okay, I remember saying that I hated the feeling when I know I'm a Christian and I don't want to have sex, and then all of a sudden I have sex and I feel guilty and I feel nasty and So now you reflect on yourself, be like, okay, every time this situation arises, I remember how I felt in that situation. I don't want to feel that feeling anymore. So let me not give in to that. Let me not do that because I remember how I felt and I don't want to feel that way anymore. Also recognize if you have any triggers. What was triggering me from giving into this temptation? Is it stress? Is it because I'm having a crazy day that I must go now drink and become an alcoholic, and that's my temptation, um what is your trigger? And then last but not least, you want to seek support. If obviously we have God on our side, but we also have real life support. We have people that's trained in this field to help with any situation, any circumstances. You just have to go out and find it. So I encourage you guys. Thank you for listening to my devotion, my long devotion. And I pray and encourage you guys to watch and pray, cease from temptations, especially the bad ones. Because when our flesh is weak, it's hard for us to fight. And I pray that we build our spirit so that we're able to defeat our flesh. In no other name, in Jesus' almighty name, amen.